Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 189 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I am your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I am a speaker and two-time author. Our second book just recently came out. It's called From Letters to Leaders, Redefining New Member Education and Leveraging Belonging to Eliminate Hazing. So make sure you go and pick that up on Amazon today. It makes the perfect stocking stuffer for the holidays. Now, we call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there's nothing like great food to bring college students together and fraternity and sorority leaders together. Fun fact, we are making so much progress here in Middle Tennessee on fixing the opioid crisis. Last month, we got our diversion center up and running, so first-time misdemeanor drug charges will be going to our treatment center instead of going to prison, and we can start to get people back to work instead of having a prison record. We also have a jail-based reentry transition specialist. He's meeting with folks in the prison that are getting ready for release to provide housing, jobs, and training before release. And we also have naloxone training happening for businesses all over the country. So we are getting closer every single day to ending the opioid crisis here in Tennessee. So stay tuned to our progress. Now, along those lines, today we have with us Dr. Robb Kelly. There was a moment that Dr. Kelly refers to as his aha moment, and he realized that his own addiction problem was not the alcohol itself, but how he thought about the alcohol. Dr. Kelly would recover from his disease. Living as a recovered alcoholic, he made it his mission and his life purpose to help other chronic addicts and alcoholics recover. Dr. Kelly has witnessed the miracle of recovery. He has worked with over 5,000 addicts and alcoholics who appear just as desperate and hopeless as he did, and he has helped them lead to the solution of permanent recovery. His personal slogan is this: step out of the disease and into the solution, which was created from his own philosophy of recovery. Welcome to the show, Dr. Robb Kelly.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here. Really good to be here.
Live from San Antonio. You got the pool in the background. You are living the dream. Look at you.
Living the dream. You know, when I was homeless, I always remember saying to myself, I want a house and a car and a pool and dogs and wife. And, you know, you do the right thing and you get on the other side of addiction. This is the results, man, every single time.
Good for you, man. I'm proud of you. That's just absolutely amazing. Let's talk a little bit about some of your early life, because I think it's so fascinating. Early on, you were a session player, a singer, songwriter, and a producer at Abbey Road Studios in London, where you had a chance to play with none other than the great Elton John, Queen, and David Bowie. What was it like to play bass guitar with those legends?
It was absolutely awesome. And when I look back, you know, most of the time we've been drinking and doing other things, of course. Cocaine was my deal. But yeah, it was surreal, to be honest. There's actually a little story behind the Abbey Road journey. I have a load of them, but Elton John, obviously being an icon. We were doing some recording in the studio one night, early hours of the morning. It was thundering and lightning and raining at Abbey Road in London. And Elton called it and said, okay, enough. Let's go back to the hotel, finish it off, the drinking and everything. So we went back to the Savoy Hotel, which is at the time was one of the most exclusive hotels in the world. It still is, 5-star hotel. Up to the penthouse suite where it's a horrible night. We're trying to get from the rain, the wind. So we humbled into the reception and then we took this private elevator up. And then we got there and there's girls, there's guys, there's drugs, there's alcohol. It's just going to be a great night. And then all of a sudden I hear Elton screaming from his bedroom, like shouting at somebody. I'm like, well, looking around the room, I'm like, who's in trouble? So I'm nosy. So I went in and he's on the phone and he's shouting at somebody on the phone. And when I get into the room, this is what he says. So the manager of the hotel, the Savoy Hotel, if you don't stop the rain and the wind right now, I am never going to book in this hotel again. And it was right there I realized that I was in the world of madness. That was
Talk about madness. I mean,
yeah.
It's just complete madness, but he's genius at the same time.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Unbelievable. What a story. I'm going to have to share that story with my daughter. She started with the electric guitar. Now she's moved on to the bass guitar. So she's going to really like that story.
Awesome.
It's awesome. So the money that you made there, that enabled you to go and learn at Oxford and get your PhD in philosophy. So I'm just wondering, for all the students that are listening here in the United States, what was it like going to school at Oxford?
Well, you have to put some backstory to that. I came from the projects. We had no money at all, my family. It's a loving family, but we couldn't afford to go on vacation every year, you know, and stuff. It was a hard-working, working-class family. So nobody in my family went to college. It was just, nobody spoke about that. I was supposed to go to middle school and high school and then get a job, probably with a gas company like my dad, have 2 babies, go to the pub every night. You know, it was all laid out for me, but, you know, I didn't want that. So I started to branch out in the early days. I was playing since the age of 9 with my musical family on stage. Then I started a local recording studio called Strawberry Studios, 10cc, the band actually owned it. And then I went to Abbey Road because I always wanted better. So I pulled out strings within the Freemason fraternity, I don't mind saying now. And over here, it's pretty open, but in England, it's very, very, you can't talk about it. You know, you probably get a visit in the middle of the night. So I finally got into Oxford. I got into Green's College, first of all, and it was med school. And after about 6, 9 months, 12 months, they threw me out for being drunk every day. And they gave me an option. You either go down to Trinity and get your PhD in psychology, or we kick you out. So I was demoted to the PhD program, which I quite liked, because by then I was drinking every day. By then my drinking was out of control, but I didn't know that. And most alcoholics don't, especially, you know, when they're drinking so heavily, they cross the line into alcoholism, because there's a big difference there between drug addiction and alcoholism regarding the brain, the chemicals and the neural pathways. But most people are freaked out by that. So the actual, I mean, I remember going into lunch for the first time and sat down, and there was a plate and like 4 knives and 4 kind of different forks. And I was mortified. I had no idea. I'm like, why have they got 4 knives? And what? So I had to look around, which I've done all my life, and watch people and learn real quick, so I wouldn't feel that imposter, because the imposter syndrome has been with me up until about 5 years ago, until I really worked on myself. But yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it's a great badge of honor. But I went back again to college. I went back to Southampton University online. I got my second PhD in behavioral science, because you can't really leave out the central nervous system and body behavior when it comes to addiction.
That is just fascinating. And eventually you did succumb to this addiction and mental health issues as well. You ended up homeless out on the streets. So how did you go from Oxford now all of a sudden to the cold streets of Manchester?
It was a long journey, and you know, I was earning lots of money when I left school, and I don't know, man, it just kind of get away with me. So I got married and thought that would fix it, because I was drinking, but I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't drinking like crazy amounts. I was just drinking, you know, every day is no problem. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd start a bar at night time, no problems at all. Then I had the first child. When the first child was born, it was kind of, you know, getting to the point where I need to cut back. So I took a Bible to the hospital. When my first was born, Charlotte, I put a hand on the Bible and looked in my wife's eyes and held my baby and said, I swear to God, I'm never going to drink alcohol again. And I would have passed a lie detector test if you'd have put me on it. 4 hours later, I'm drunk, not thinking there was a problem. Second child came along, 2 Bibles to the hospital now. Put my 2 hands, 1 on each Bible, and swore to her that I'd never drink alcohol again. I lasted about 3 hours and I was drunk again. So all that going on, I then we moved back into the house, obviously, when the child was ready to come home, and there was certain abuse in the house. There was violence in the house. I remember stabbing my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish drinking my bottle of vodka in a blackout. And then in the end, the kids left, she left, my parents wouldn't speak to me, the house was foreclosed on, the cars went, the holiday homes went, my license was taken off me, my driving license as well was taken off me. I remember sat on the streets in the middle of Manchester, Piccadilly Gardens, it's called, on a bench. And for the first time I thought, oh my God, what the hell just happened? What happened? You know, but that's alcoholism for you. And that's why I'm so, I say aggressively on the side of teaching and educating people and helping people, because it is a vicious illness. It's the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. 10 DUIs do not make you an alcoholic. And I wanted to bring this and create a program that had almost 100% success rate, which we did. And we wanted to help the families understand what the alcoholic was going through. So we educate them as well while they're in our program.
Now, we have a lot of fraternity and sorority college students that are listening right now, and they might be seeing signs of alcohol and drug addiction in their chapters among their friends, their brothers, their sisters. So what are those signs that they should be looking out for in their friends, their brothers and sisters on these college campuses?
Say you're going out one night time, just watch for the person. Everyone knows who knows. He's been getting drunk every night, he's passing out. But watch when he first walks in the room. See if he's been drinking or not. Watch real carefully, he'll give it away. And then watch him drinking during the night. Watch him miss dinners and lunches and camps and stuff like that. And then, the first thing that I would do when situations like that is dialogue. I wish I had someone to me, Michael, if somebody came over and go, hey, Rob, do you know something? I think you're drinking a bit too much. What do you reckon? Nobody did that to me because I was earning millions of dollars and people were like, yes, people around me. So it had to crash for me. One of the reasons why I do what I do today is not making it crash for other people, is to get their help as quick as possible. So dialogue's the first thing to talk about. And if you ask someone, hey, do you think you're drinking too much? And they go, oh, yeah, maybe. There's not going to be a problem, guys. But if you ask somebody you're drinking too much and they adamantly say no, they just full blown against anything that you're saying, there's red flags there that you need to address with him or her.
Yeah, that's really good to know. You believe in these three core concepts that keep most addicts and alcoholics rooted in their disease, which is fear, abandonment, and also shame. Talk to us a little bit more about these three core concepts.
Well, there's actually four. We added four about 10 years ago. The fear is something that it's something that most people suffer from, but alcoholics more because we overplay scenarios in our head. So we're gripped with fear. And an alcoholic will say to you anytime, I'm not fearful. I'm fearful of no man. If you're an alcoholic, you're full of fear. Abandonment, let's go back to your childhood. The cause and the conditions of this disease is not the alcohol and it's not the drugs. 1% is the alcohol, 1% is the drugs. 99%, it's all about the biochemical reaction in my brain due to a predisposition. So the abandonment, fear, and the shame of everything that you're doing from childhood. When mom and dad used to shout at you, when, mom said to you one day, don't be stupid, you can't go to college like your brother, you're not clever enough, that's trauma. Anything less than nurturing as a child is child abuse. We found out that today. So with them three things, I want to add trauma to that. Because people ask me today, we've studied trauma over the last 15 years, and we've decided that trauma is the gateway drug because everything comes from that. And if you're born, alcoholism is hereditary. You can pass it down through your generation. You can try and trace 3 generations back. And if there's no alcoholism, you're usually good. If there is, be careful. It may skip a generation, but it'll still get you. Now, with it being a predisposition, meaning I'm born this way, you can't drink yourself into becoming an alcoholic. You can abuse alcohol. You can be a heavy drinker, but an alcoholic is totally different psychologically and physically than just drinking alcohol. So with that remapped brain, then along comes the trauma. And the trauma, you used to say big T's, little T's. In the alcoholic business, there's no such thing. So me and my brother sat on the kitchen table one day, and my mom walks in, for instance, and me and Paul, and she says to Paul, my brother, who's a normal person, doesn't have my brain, get down at the table, you stupid idiot, get down. He gets down and I freeze. Why do I freeze? Because what I've heard, get out of that table, you stupid idiot. And that's the way the brain is developed. We hear things differently because of the predisposition. Drug addicts don't hear that. Drug addicts are made, they're not born. So when people come along, you see today most drug addicts in heroin, probably 95% of people that pass through our facility started in the doctor's office. Now, if that had been controlled or they'd never started there, they'd never become drug addicts. So drug addicts are made, it becomes a habit, then it becomes an addiction. With alcoholism, the first drink sets off that reaction. That can take a year, 10 years, 50 years, but sooner or later, you're going to go across that line after thousands of attempts to try and stop, where there's no return through human aid.
Mm-hmm. This is so fascinating because you believe it's the addict's mind and thinking that are actually the problem. And when you're working with patients through daily interaction, you study the disease, you watch for changes that may manifest through body language. It could be a change in mindset, or it could be some other altered behavior. So what types of things are you looking for when you're working with patients?
You have to remember two things with the alcoholic brain. You have to remember that the hypothalamus, which is based towards the back part of the brain, it's a kind of fight or flight part. It's a survival part of the brain. What it tells normal people, this is fascinating, it's all tried and tested and studied from my company, is it tells normal people to drink water and eat food to survive. That's its only purpose. And well, some others, but that's its primary purpose. When alcoholics cross the line from heavy drinking to alcoholism, the hypothalamus, the same hypothalamus, tells us to drink alcohol. And that's why we see people, including me, going days and weeks without food or alcohol. So when we look at the ganglia, this is the repeat thing over and over again. This is the washing machine. So once we get into addiction, this is going all the time. Now, you may be sober for a little bit, but always, if you're an alcoholic, you're going to step back in and you're round again. Repetition, strengthen, confirms, and the addiction gets worse as we go along, and the alcoholism gets worse. So what we need to do is we need to interrupt that pattern. And there's a simple way that you interrupt it. We call it 7.3 seconds because we timed about 100 people, and how you can change your mind away from taking you down the self-sabotaging neural pathways, which I'm born with more than the average person, because I have this predisposition of alcoholism. So the idea is to interrupt this. And what we do is when it's going and we don't know what it is and we're overwhelmed, we just count from 7, 6, 5 to 1, and the interrupt signal. Now you can redirect that thought pattern. That's the key to alcoholism. It's trauma, it's cycles in your head, and it's the hypothalamus. We also can't take out this central nervous system, which plays a huge part. Ask any alcoholic before he drank, what you feeling like? I had them butterflies in my stomach. That's the sign we need to look for. Alcohol will never come to an alcoholic on a Monday and go, hey, Billy, let's have a drink today. Never does that. It's a week or a few weeks before when the behavior changes. And therefore, that's the relapse. At that point, it's the relapse. It's never the relapse when you take the drink. It's all over. By the time the signal gets through to the prefrontal cortex, which only job in the world is to come up with an answer as quick as possible, a solution to my problem. But with alcoholics, the solution is always alcohol. So it's here. It's not the bottle. You know, it's got very little to do with alcohol. And we need to look at this because most people, most treatment centers that you go to, you'll go 5 or 6 times and still pay you 30 grand every time. They're not teaching the right thing. Let's talk about relapse prevention. Let's talk about not going to bars, not drinking with friends. No. Shielding any alcoholic from alcohol is doomed from day one. We have to start to change. It's not a drinking problem. It's a thinking problem.
Wow, this is so interesting. The other thing that you do as well is life coaching for stress management. And many of the college students that are listening right now, they're completely stressed out between the pressures of going to school, dealing with isolation from the pandemic, general anxiety from college students. So how do you work with college students on stress management?
There's a couple of things we use. Obviously, it's a vast program. There's hundreds of things that we do, techniques. But one of them's real easy. It comes from the SAS, the Special Air Service in England. They're like the Navy SEALs, but the Navy SEALs trained under them when they first began. And it's called box breathing, where you intake air for 5 seconds, you hold it for 5 seconds, you exhale for 5 seconds, you hold it for 5 seconds. And this was a technique that the SAS come up with when they were under siege or under pressure or under fire. They came up and we found that the central nervous system started to quiet down. Therefore, the brain started to quiet down. And whenever we're agitated or wherever we think we're getting in too deep, is to pause. Because there's a couple of things I want to tell the students. First of all, I hate to spoil the ending for you guys, but it's going to be okay. You know, just do what you're supposed to do. Don't get hyped out. Have fun while you're doing it. These are the best years of your life. You know, we get tied up in all this headspace and then we take weed and then we're drinking alcohol to calm down. It's like, it's going to be okay. Don't get too stressed out about everything, you know, treat it. You've got to laugh at yourself and you've got to laugh at things around you. Be kind, compliment people every day. These things reactivate. When I compliment somebody, dopamine is released into my brain. It's a fact. I like dopamine. I like anything that makes me feel good. So I'm going to do more of that. But enjoy life, because I tell students today, I teach at a couple of universities or lecture, and I tell people, I went to bed last night and I was 19. I woke up this morning, I'm 60. And the reason why I say that, people laugh and I go, no, that's how quick life is. Believe me, it is. I mean, if you're a parent, you know this. You're 1 minute, you're cuddling in the arms, next minute they're going to college. Yep. Because life goes by like this. Do you want to spend all your school years fretting and under pressure? Or do you want to step back and look at yourself and go, you know something? I'm worth this. I'm worthy of doing this, because the normal brain will tell us no. The alcoholic brain stores any negativity that somebody says to us. That's why in the morning, for stressed people and alcoholics, we walk into the bathroom, we look in the mirror, eye to eye, and we say, I love you 10 times. Never going to get anything out of it. Feels embarrassing, feels stupid, but it's stored in the subconscious brain. And do you know where that's going to come to the prefrontal cortex? When you go for that job, when you go for that car, girl, house, exam, test, whatever it is, the subconscious brain will go, hey, I love you, you're worth it. And this is how you build a strong life. People that get this at an early age, they don't build businesses, they build empires like me, because this is what it's all about. You know, people say to me all the time, they go, I say, you can be anybody you want. Well, I can't be president of the United States. Well, we had a businessman. I'm not a political guy, but we had a businessman running. So don't tell me you can't do anything else than you want. Quantum physics plays a part into this. When I'm lecturing, and let's say a basketball court, for instance, quantum physics tells me I can be on that basketball court 25 times at the same time. 25 places on that court, because nothing's solid. 25 places. Where do I want to be? I want to be over near the goal. So when someone passes the ball, slam it into the net, and the hero of the game. Great. How'd you get there? Here we go, guys. Hold on to your seats. We walk over and we take that position. That's all there is to it. You've visualized it. You can hold it in your hand. But we have so many doubts. These are the days, guys. I did it myself. I looked back at an old photograph at college and went, wow, those were the days. They are the days. When you look back in 10 years' time, you go, look how thin we were. Look at our head of hair. Look how attractive. But I've got something to tell you guys. What if today's one of those days? For anybody listening. So that's why I live today. I live life. I laugh. Me and my wife dance in the bathroom in the morning. We're throwing stuff at each other. It's like, make your own rules up, as long as it doesn't, the legal rules and the school rules, but make your own rules up in life. Who says you can't go cycling in snow at 12 o'clock at night? Who said that? Make your own rules up. Have fun. And I'm telling you, life will be amazing like mine.
Yeah, that's great tips right there. And you're absolutely right. I mean, life goes by in an instant. I was talking about that with my wife actually just last night. We remember bringing home our son home from the hospital in a blanket. We have a picture of us holding our son in the front lawn thinking, what do we do now? We're responsible for this other human, and I don't even know what to do at this point. But then we go to sleep, and then we wake up. And now it's 17 years later, and my son is looking at colleges right now, and he's taller than I am. And I'm saying, what in the world just happened? Like, it goes by so fast, you have no idea.
And that's when we start to slow things down.
Yeah.
Like I'm lucky, guys. I have people around me that arrange my patients, arrange my interviews, my TV, my everything. Tonight at 8 o'clock, I'll get my Saturday. I don't know what it is. So I literally get to live in the day. But if you can just pause and realize what you've got, and remember, if you're at college or if you just started a job, there was a day when you prayed for this to happen. And all of a sudden it's happening, but we want the next best thing all the time. Yeah. What's the latest iPhone? I want an iPhone. Slow down, you know?
Yeah, no question. No question about it. There was a day that I prayed where I would be in this position right now as a speaker with 20 speakers that travel all over the country and that kind of a team. I prayed for this day, and I'm living it right now. And sometimes you just got to stop and say thank you, because boy, it's just it's amazing. You know, the other thing that I see on college campuses fairly frequently is eating disorders. So how do you work with somebody trying to overcome an eating disorder?
Well, I have a special team for that. There's a special team for gamblers and for overeaters or anorexia or anything like that. And again, it's intense work. My psychotherapists work with them kind of people, and it's all about changing images in the brain and letting go of what's trapped in the subconscious brain that really leads your life. You see it, you hear it, totally different. Because what people don't realize today is you will never know, Michael, how good you look, how good you are, how amazing, how many people look up to you. I don't. People don't. With anorexia and overeating, it's the same thing. We see this vision of not being worthy, not being good enough to do anything. So we go back to our comfort blanket, which is eating. And if we're dieting anorexia, we never see the weight loss because the brain never catches up. So I've just lost 60 pounds on my journey because I'm going back on TV. And I want to get healthy. I'm 60 now. I was 300 pounds, you know, a bodybuilder, or not just like fat, but I wanted to do it. So it's about going on this journey. But my mind, when I go out to eat at nighttime with my wife, will order the same huge steak with the same huge fries with bread on the side. And after 4 or 5 mouthfuls, it's the same with anorexia. When you look at yourself in the mirror, the brain hasn't caught up to the weight loss, and then all of a sudden you're ill with it, but the brain hasn't caught up. So it's all about working with neural pathways and working with neurons and vision and focus and somatic experience that we do that takes you through your body, how you're feeling. There's loads of unique ways. Brain spotting is the latest thing that we do here, and it's a direct route to the pupil into the subconscious brain. I love doing it because we start to work on, we only know 15% of the brain, we really do. And when we start to believe that we are special, that we are worthy. You see, I come to my conclusion years ago, never going to be tall enough, never going to be thin enough, never going to be blonde enough, and never going to be rich enough. Simple as that, you know, and I have a lot of money in the bank, but still don't think it's enough, you know? So we have to calm down and go, you know something? I'm worth it today because, well, I've not got a boyfriend or I've not got a girlfriend. You haven't, because the way you present yourself to the world. If you walk in a room full of 10 people with a frown on your face, most people are going to frown back. If you walk in with a smile on your face, most people are going to smile back. We carry it all here. Let that pain go. Just let it go. Try and work with somebody who specializes in that area, because, you know, I never get sick of saying this, Michael, but, you know, there is an amazing life out there for each and every one. You see, success is not only for certain people, success is for everybody. It's just that most people don't think they're worthy of it. Do you know the chances of you just being born are billions to one? What do you mean you're not worth it? Of course you are worth it. And you can do anything you want. And I'm kind of subliminal messaging this to you guys because I'm saying it over and over again, hoping you're going to get it. But you really are amazing, and you really are, you know, so much bigger than you think you are, and so more empowered than you think you are. That's just a rule. It's my 60 years of being alive on this earth. You know, the only reason why I know all this is studying intensely, almost aggressively, about the brain, about us, about the way we work, the way we act, the way we feel, the way we look. It's all a big farce. The problem is that every individual has a choice to have this incredible life and help people and work with people and have families and girlfriends, whatever it is, or we take a step back because we don't think we're worthy. More people need to look around at the guy sat at the back of the classroom and get him involved. Because you know them guys at the back of the classroom, yeah, that was the guy that ran Google. That's the guy running Apple. They're the guys at the back that are a little bit different to everyone else. You know, we need to start loving people more and stop judging people. I never judge anybody. With my past, with what I've done in the past, who am I to judge anybody? And I think there's a turn with the new kids coming through schools and colleges. There's a turn where we see the guy at the back of the school. You know, we see friends who wouldn't normally talk to. The cheerleaders never speak to the geeks. And no, I've seen that change in many schools that I've lectured at. I think it's getting better and better. And good on you guys for doing that. Well done. I think the generation coming on is awesome. My father and fathers dropped the ball. You know, they dropped the ball. There was no hugging. There was no I love you. There was no atta boys. There was nothing. And it destroyed a generation. So glad it's turning around.
Yeah, me too. I'm really happy that Gen Z is here because I really believe that they're the answers to a lot of the things that we screwed up in the past, you know, the environment and other things that I think about. But you're absolutely right there. Now, you started talking about steaks and French fries, so I'm starting to get hungry now. And we do like good food here at the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Now, I know you're in San Antonio, and this is like one of my favorite cities in the country. So what is your go-to restaurant in San Antonio? I need to hear this.
It's actually an English restaurant on the Riverwalk, is what it's called. The name, Mad Dogs, it's called. Just because they do the real fish and the real chips or fries. So yeah, apart from that, Bo Hammond's in Central San Antonio steak place. He's just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And every time I think of food, I think of my friend Gordon Ramsay. And this is kind of answering the question, but no. I'm sat in Gordon's house when he's cooking me something to eat because he's a great chef, unbelievable. I call him a cook, drives him crazy. So he's cooking something, but he turns around one day for some no reason. He went, "Hey," I said, "Yeah." He said, "You know I'm the best chef in the world." I said, "Because you can cook really well?" And he said, "No, because I tell everybody I am." Oh, what? Yeah, mind blown.
Mind blown.
So yeah, definitely Bo Hammond. It's definitely Mad Dogs in San Antonio, worth a visit.
That's amazing. I love that story. Thank you for throwing that in. Now, if our listeners, if they want to use your services for coaching, maybe they want to bring you to come in and speak at their university, where should they go to connect with you?
I spell my name with two B's, ROBBKELLY.com is the website. And jump on any search engine on the world and just type Dr. Robb Kelly in. And then you'll see me all over the place. My email's the same as the website. It's just with the two B's, rob@robkelly.com. But listen, I got something else to add. So I'm in the trenches all the time. Like when I answer the phone sometimes in the office, people go, "Oh my God, is that Dr. Robb? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm speaking to you." I'm like, dude, I'm the guy that gave his kids away. I'm the guy that was homeless for over a year. It's always going to be me. So listen, these are for the guys that are sat at home, struggling at school, don't think they're worthy. First of all, if you don't think you're worthy, good enough, or amount to anything, I want to apologize to you. Somebody's put that there. We're born with $1 million minds. Stop hanging around 10-cent minds, okay? Get that first of all. But here's my personal cell phone number. What? Yes. Most people go, "Are you crazy?" No, I want to help people, 214-600-0210 is my personal cell, not my assistant, not my front desk, not my secretary. My personal phone number. Send me a text. Let's exchange texts. And if you're in that place, I'll give you a 10-minute pep talk that will change your life. And if it doesn't, I'll send you $100. How's that?
Wow. You just made the offer of a lifetime and you put out your cell phone. Unbelievable. Nobody else does this. Only Dr. Robb does this.
Yeah, you got to put, how much am I invested in this? We're the only company in the world that offers a money back guarantee if you relapse or if you get depressed again while following our program. This is about helping people. By the way, when you call us and I call you back for the 10-15 minute, you're not going to get charged a dime. I'm not going to sell you anything. You can't buy our services. Stop it. Behave yourself. You've got to earn them. But if you want that free 10-15 minute chat, text me first because I'm always busy. But I will get a time when me and you will speak. I promise. That's my promise to you guys listening.
I love it. So go check out the website. It's ROBBKELLY.com. Dr. Robb, what can I say? You're the real deal. I appreciate all of your words of wisdom. And thank you so much for being on the show. It means a great deal to me and to our listeners.
Awesome, man. It's been a pleasure to be on. And thank you for what you do as well. I've looked at a few things you do. You help hundreds of thousands with a ripple effect. Just great, man. I love what you're doing. And I'm really, really pleased to be on here.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much to our listeners. If you like this, make sure you like it on social media. Make sure you share it with all the college students on campus. And we will see you on another episode of Fraternity Foodie. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.